Hello. Um, okay, so I'm going to lean towards the direction of I think we have gone a little too far in terms of political correctness. Uh, Maybe I'm just an old person just stuck in my ways, but I don't think that's my reason. First thing I wanted to point out was you mentioned, you had comedian friends. You said it was hard with all the political correctness to be a comedian. Said I'm sure it is. They make a living doing that, but I remember hearing some comedians say something to the effect of, I can make this joke because I'm a comedian, but your average person on the street can't. And so I think it can even be sometimes harder for the regular person. I mean, I know I made a joke. I don't remember exactly what it was last week. It was something to do with blacks liking fried chicken, and it wasn't meant to be derogatory towards blacks. It was I was making fun of the stereotype. Uh, Now, the person I made the joke to got it because he knows me, but if someone else heard it, they might have taken it out of context and thought, you know, I was, you know, making fun of black people. But anyway, there are a ton of ways you can go with this, but I actually want to kind of keep this relatively short. Uh, Focus on three words. Start out, start out with the N word. Uh, the fact that I feel I can't say it, having a discussion about it seems it's gone a little too far. It's one thing to use it to calling someone that, but just talking about it, I feel uncomfortable saying it, and it would probably offend a lot of people if I did. Um, and I think this is a situation where we almost give the words too much power. Um, I know there are two sides, even among black people, on whether the word should be used or not. I know some of them use it, you know, in a friendly way, and I think there is something to that in taking some of the power away from it. Yes, it's going to be used negatively by some people, but they're going to use it negatively one way or the other. It doesn't really matter whether it's used or not. The second word is the word Redskins, where I know you're not a football fan, but if you followed at all, there's big controversy over whether they should change their name. Some people feel it's very derogatory towards Native Americans. It's almost their equivalent of the N word. Uh, but I've also heard the other argument that people have said that when you know we settled on this continent, some Native Americans, you know, told the settlers to call them Redskins. So I don't know one way or the other. Whereas the N word, I feel, is born out of hatred. So I understand they're not wanting to use that. Um, Up in the air with Redskins, but personally, if it was me and it was my team, I would change the name just because I feel enough people are offended by it, and you don't want to go out of your way to offend people, especially in the NFL where there are so many issues, and not to mention they're willing to relocate teams every other year anyway. There's no, they're attached to a name, yet they can't seem to keep a team in a city. But that's another story. Uh, and the other word I go with is the word retarded or whatever form of that you want to use. And this is probably definitely an age thing because growing up, that was the word we used. And it's, I honestly, I'm not even sure what the politically correct word is. Mentally challenged, I think, but I feel like it's changed over time. Uh, the problem with that is I feel retarded is a descriptive term. It's not meant to be derogatory. I understand people use it that way, but people, whatever word you use, people are going to use it derogatory. And you know, retarded means slowed, and it's to describe people who have been mentally slowed for one reason or another. Um, I have even heard uh, watching something where a psychologist or psychiatrist or something was talking about people with social anxiety and refer to them as socially retarded. Maybe because it's not as common or something. It didn't offend me because I understood where it was coming from. Uh, so in the end, I guess my feeling is I tend to feel by making these words off limits, trying to be too PC, we give the words a little too much power. That being said, I am not going to use a word around someone who doesn't want me to use it or is offended by it. I'm not out to offend people. I'll refer to someone however they want me to refer to them. If you said, you've talked about your height, but if you said you don't want to be called short, you want to be called, height challenged or something, I would call you that. But I think there's a difference between being politically correct and being respectful of people's feelings. Uh, yeah, so that's just, I guess, some of my thoughts on the whole PC thing. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.